For question number 5 on the review, we again see that we have an equation that has an x squared and an x in it. So we're thinking we might want to use the quadratic formula or something along those lines to solve this equation because we can't combine those like terms. However, there is something you really have to watch for here, and notice that this time the equation is not equal to 0. You've got to take care of that before you do anything else. So I am going to go ahead and minus 6 from each side. On the right-hand side, that's going to get me the 0 that I need. On this side, I can bring down the x squared minus 13x, and that's going to leave me with a plus 36 equal to 0. Now, this is a fairly simple quadratic equation. Notice there's no number in front of the x squared. You can, at this point, go ahead and identify your a, b, and c. In this case, a would be 1, b would be negative 13, and c would be 36. And you can dive in and you can use that quadratic formula that x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. However, remember the other way that we can solve these quadratic equations like this, once you have one side equal to 0, is to try to factor them. And in this case, this one actually does factor nicely. My usual rule is I'll try, 20 seconds or something to see if I can find a set of factors that works, and if I can, then, the problem's done a lot faster. In this case, to get x squared, I'd need x times x, and then I'm looking for things that are going to multiply to get 36. One of those options is going to be 9 and 4, and if I have a negative 9 and a negative 4, that will get me the positive 36, and this particular set will add to get me negative 13. So it's just another way that you can solve the problem. The quadratic formula is totally cool. If you do solve with factoring, remember after you factor that one side after you factor the equation, we need to set each of those factors equal to 0 to get our two solutions. So in this case, we end up with x equals a positive 9, and in this case, we end up with x equals a positive 4, and those will be my two solutions. So if it factors nicely, go for it. However, using the quadratic formula also always works, and if you plug those numbers in and evaluate and simplify what you're left with, you should be left with 9 and 4 as your two solutions that way too. I don't care which one you use, whatever makes the most sense.